And I said, it's time for you to go. You got to get out of here.
He keeps saying, "Dump me the stick." What's that, bud? Stick. Yeah.
Stick,
You gonna dump him?
Well, it's messy, yo folks, but it's cleared out. Keeping those trees, but otherwise having this whole area cleared of just junk brush, which we're getting closer. So this was another tough patch of land to clear out. And there's still work, just like with this other patch, just like with that patch. It's ugly right now, but we've cleared that out to a sufficient degree, and we planted a sunflower seed cover crop, which, as you can see, the sunflowers are coming in very strong. What are we gonna do here? Other than clear it and clear out all the rest of this junk on the ground? I don't know, that's the next step though. It's really cool to see this whole plot start to come together and clear out. Before, this was impenetrable, ugly brush that was just, we weren't doing anything with. It was a habitat for ants and termites and grubs. But now we're turning it around into usable land, and for that I'm proud. I gotta clear away this stuff, bring it to the burn pile. But I think for now, for today, I'm done with this stuff. My next task will be clearing this, bringing this down a level, getting some of this junk off the ground, and then probably approaching it much like I did the sunflower patch area, tilling it over, covering it with dirt, taking it one ugly stump at a time. But that's the next step. It looks good. You trying to climb the ladder, buddy? You probably shouldn't. I think that might be a little advanced for you, my friend.
Me.
Yeah. Charlie agrees. Do you want to go chase him? Go get him. I figured it was time to try out the forklift attachment. I mentioned it maybe a month or two ago that I had gotten this forklift attachment for a reasonable price online that's meant to be hooked up to your front bucket on your tractor. I kind of used it once, but I didn't have the proper wrench to tighten it all the way, so I just had a very big wrench, tightened it up about as much as I could get it. Unfortunately, it's still wonky. You can kind of see this as you're looking at it, and that's due to the warp in the bucket itself. That's just a factor I can't control for. The bucket is skewed a little bit, is warped, just from years of use. And so that obviously affects the angle of attack on this forklift. So unfortunately, that's what I have to work with. But for moving big piles of brush, this still might help me tremendously. So I'm gonna give it a shot now that I've tightened it up, see if it works or see if it's a dud. Fingers are crossed that it'll be successful. Let's see. What do you guys think of the show?
He keeps saying, Dumpy the stick. Dumpy the stick.
Is that what you're saying? Do you like watching this,
What's
buddy?
that, bud? Stick. Yeah.
Stick,
You
yeah.
gonna dump him? Green stick. You gonna dump him?
So what's the verdict here? Well, we'll start with the cons and then we'll go into the pros. Let's start with the cons. Number one, it's hard to aim this. When you're trying to aim for a pile of brush or whatever, you can't really see it. And that kind of leads into my second point. I couldn't really see where I was going because I had this big pile of brush. I was kind of blocking my view. I didn't want to drop the bucket any further because stuff would fall out. It's hard to actually, unless you have like a second person there. Holly was out with Bub, but I didn't want them being close to all of this. So unless you have like a dedicated spotter, it's really challenging to kind of aim the tines of the fork. So you were probably watching me attempt to try and get in under the big pile of brush, and I was having a challenging time doing that. That's the primary con. The pros are, this actually hung on. This actually stayed. Yes, the thing is wobbly and kind of warped, but it stayed on very solidly. Let's get to the real pro. It cut down my brush hauling time into fractions of what it would normally take me. If I were to just load that stuff up and pull it by hand to the burn pit, or even cut it up on the spot and try and move it with like a wheelbarrow or something, it would have taken me at least an hour. This took me just a few minutes. So this stuff, like, what's my verdict? I'm enthusiastic. I'm optimistic, let's say that, about using this for other things. I can see using this for situations like moving logs or trees that we've felled. This would be perfect for something like that. If my dad and I are out and we're chopping down trees and we need to move the fallen trees somewhere, and the two of us are working as a team, this would be an incredible tool to have for situations like that. What do you think, Lenny? Lenny approves. So guys, I gotta say, this has been a pleasant surprise. Our green bean crop. We started giving green beans a shot this year, and they've taken off. They're very prolific. They grow extremely well here, extremely easily. I'm not sure why we haven't done green beans much earlier. This bed is just taken over by green beans and then volunteer tomatoes that are popping up from last year. I think these are sun golds, which we really like. And so it was a surprise. We didn't really expect to have a bumper green bean crop. We've never grown them before. It's almost too easy. So I think we're going to incorporate green beans into the lineup much more often moving forward. They taste incredible too, raw, cooked. I think Holly's going to plan on cooking them in olive oil and salt. Very simple. I'm very, very excited about green beans. Look at all of these sunflowers. I will need to thin them out at some point. But it's encouraging, isn't it? To have just thrown birdseed sunflowers down on the ground. Quarter of a bag of them. And a week or two later, they're springing up and healthy. Hopefully turning this ground into something a lot better. And now this area has been cleared. I've got work to do here. I may cut down this trio of trees that are kind of junky. I don't know, I kind of like them. I haven't made the decision yet, but this whole area was once just null. It was nothing. And now it's going to be something. What? That remains to be seen. I don't think we'll plant sunflowers here because they'll be under the canopy of these hackberry trees, which we'll hold on to. But if you guys have any ideas of what to do in this shady spot, I'm all ears. I'd be curious to get some ideas for what to do under here. But it's opening it up. And so this whole kind of orchard area in the back from our apple trees and our fig tree to our blueberry bushes and all of our raspberries to the sunflower patch, which will eventually turn into something else. Maybe strawberries, I don't know. We'll see. This is becoming quite the little food forest, berry and fruit forest, which I'm really excited about. It's good to, if nothing else, see the tool shed again. It's opening things up and making me feel like I have more control. The beachhead is growing on my homestead. The home acre is getting more and more developed. It's a small step, but it's something. It's up here mentally, it's a big step. I don't know. I'm glad I did it. Sometimes you just get so used to seeing something that kind of blurs into the background and just becomes a wallpaper in your life. 2 or 3 mornings ago, I woke up and I looked at this patch of brush and I said, it's time for you to go. You got to get out of here. I'm glad I did it. More to come on this. Stay tuned. You got any parting words, Lenny? I spoke to Lenny before I filmed today, and he told me that you are going to have an amazing day today. Lenny's never led me astray, so I'm sure he's telling the truth. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us today. And until we see you again next time, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.